Now on CoastTV News.
Delaware libraries in the spotlight today. What the Freedom to Read Act means for book bans in the first state.
Breaking the rules with dogs on the boardwalk. How many violations kept Ocean City police busy?
New Lewis Beach rules. What one committee says is next for new proposals.
And we're expecting a soggy and windy situation for this work week. Be sure you grab your umbrellas and your windbreaker.
This is CoastTV News at 5.
The battle over books and which ones belong on these shelves. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. We begin tonight with the Freedom to Read Act signed into law in Delaware.
The bill sets a statewide standard for how libraries choose the books on their shelves, requiring both public and school libraries to have written policies. Coast TV News reporter Christina DeRobertis in our newsroom with this story. Christina, the policies make sure that books can't be pulled just because someone disagrees with their political, religious, or personal beliefs.
Yes, but it is important to note books can still be challenged, but those books would have to stay on the library shelves until a final decision is made. And we did hear some mixed reactions in Sussex County today.
Page by page, Delaware is rewriting its library rules. The Freedom to Read Act is now law, and it says books cannot be pulled from shelves just because of partisan, religious, or ideological objections.
I think it's a good bill.
Supporters like Frankfurt Library Director Bonnie Elliott say the law falls in line with the most important thing about public libraries.
Do I agree with every book that comes in here? No. But do I want people to have their choices? Yes.
Elliott says it's a relief now that there's a standard to point to.
Because the pressure isn't on us to decide, well, should we not have this book here? Or should we not have this book? Is this the reason? Is that the reason? No.
Sussex County Republican Tim Dukes says he backed the bill at first.
When I saw the bill when it originally came out, I signed on as a sponsor.
But pulled his support after fellow lawmakers made several amendments.
In the end, the final bill it really undermines local libraries and the community from the review process. And so, you know, the bill claims to provide clarity to the process, but it shifts the decision-making process away from local control and sends it to a review board in Newcastle County.
For schools, only students, parents, or staff can challenge a book. Appeals can go all the way to a new library review committee made up of education and library leaders like the state librarian and secretary of education. The law doesn't name Newcastle County specifically, but because state offices are based there, final reviews would run through statewide committees.
And the new law also includes protections for librarians, making sure they can't be punished for following the state's new rules on choosing books. Back to you.
Ina, thank you. According to the American Library Association, the most common reason lawmakers challenge books are on a basis of sexual or explicit content, inclusion of LGBTQ characters, themes of race and social justice. Now, notably challenged books include 1984, The Great Gatsby, The Color Purple, The Diary of Anne Frank, The Picture of Dorian Gray, Mouse, The Handmaid's Tale, and Slaughterhouse-Fives, and Lord of the Flies, just to name a few.
And this brings us right into our Coast TV poll. We want to know your biggest concern with removing books.
Let's take a look at the results so far. 70% say censorship, though 26% say harm to kids. 3% say biased decisions, and 1% say misinformation.
If you haven't voted yet, or if you have a comment on this topic, go to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. Walking dogs on the boardwalk and large tents on the beach. Two things that are not allowed in Ocean City during the summer. But according to police, a lot of people broke those rules. Coast TV News reporter Kevin Zappe is live in Ocean City. Kevin, police say citations, they more than doubled in August.
Charlie, among those violations are traffic stops, which went up significantly compared to last August. Now, according to police, it's mostly due to those electric scooters in town that are not following those traffic laws. It's no secret Ocean City's population swells in the summer. And with more people and more new rules, there are naturally going to be more violations. According to Ocean City Police, in the month of August, people violating city ordinances, everything from smoking on the boardwalk to setting up large tents on the beach, more than doubled compared to last year. Deputy Communications Manager Ashley Miller says there are several reasons why.
This year, we have the new tent ordinance for out on the beach. So we had a bunch of calls related to that, and right now we're really pressing education. We also saw a lot of dogs on the boardwalk, which right now we're still in that time frame that dogs unfortunately cannot be up on the boardwalk. So our public safety officers were up there addressing that along with our smoking ordinance violation. So it doesn't always mean something. That number is just for calls for service, so that means our officers responded out to one of those ordinances.
According to local Rich Price, he's seen more waves of vacationers coming into town throughout the years, and understands that some people may not know the rules.
You learn to deal with it when you live here and work around it. After all, they bring the money in. You shouldn't yell at the tourists, although sometimes you would like to.
The town also saw an increase in traffic violations in August, rising from 680 to 793. Miller says much of it is due to the growing presence of electric scooters on the road.
A lot of it we know has been tied back to the J1s. It is a very affordable means for transportation.
Price understands, but says everyone needs to understand the rules for safety.
I don't expect to see someone coming from my right, either in the bus lane or on the sidewalk. If there was a collision, this would be a complete catastrophe.
As summer winds down, the Ocean City Council will look at electric scooters on the road and what rules they may put in place. Now here's the tricky part. The state of Maryland manages these roads, which means the town will have to work with the state to see if they can implement any rules regarding these electric scooters on these roads. I'm Kevin Zappé, live in Ocean City, Coast TV News.
New beach rules are in the early stages in Lewis. Some include banning canopies and the use of kayaks and canoes. Coast TV News reporter Brandon Ferguson is live in Lewis. Brandon, these would only apply to a certain area.
Maddie, the city's Ordinance Review and Ad Hoc Committee calls it a restrictive area. Now, this restrictive area is here on Savannah Beach all the way to the end of Johnny Walker Beach. And for a better look at this area, take a look at your screen now to see exactly where these rules could apply to. And the restrictive area also reaches out 300 feet into the water. In a meeting today, the committee went over the rules, which include banning the use of marijuana on the beach, using a paddleboard, kayak, and canoe in the water, and putting up canopies. One local Coast TV spoke with says it's the possible banning of canopies that got her attention.
I don't think that that's fair, especially the canopies. You know, the families want to have the canopies up for their children and have a good time, have a little bit of shade, you know, while they're out here on the beach.
Now, none of this has been decided yet. Committee members say they will revisit these rules once minor drafting issues are addressed and explained by the Lewis Parks and Recreation Commission. Live in Lewis, Brandon Ferguson, Coast TV News.
Some good news for beachgoers. Paid parking season, it ends today in a whole host of towns. Starting tomorrow, you won't have to pay for parking in Rehoboth, Dewey, Bethany, and Fenwick. But listen up, because not all towns will shut off their parking meters tomorrow. Lewis, for example, will continue charging at the beach until September 30th. In Ocean City, paid parking runs through Halloween. Still, for the places where it's ending, people are excited.
It works out well for us because we just got in last night, so we'll pay to park today and then have free parking the rest of the week. So I don't mind it.
Another update on Ocean City specifically, they're moving away from metered parking. You're going to need the parking app, but that's with the exception of the inlet lot where the meters will remain for one more year.
Let's take a live look outside into Lewis and check in with our First Alert Chief Meteorologist, Paul Williams. Paul, we have some rain coming up.
Oh, we do. In fact, we've got some big time rain and a good deal of strong winds, and that's going to make for a combination of a possible yellow alert day for tomorrow. Maybe even leaning into early Wednesday, actually. But we're very cloudy right now, hardly a peak of the sun at all. Now, we will settle into the upper 60s, but we won't move by much because of the same thick cloud cover, believe it or not. Now, we are cooler. We're about 5 degrees cooler now than we were 24 hours ago in Salisbury as well as Georgetown. And when you combine that with the winds coming out of the northeast between 13 or up to 31 mile per hour gusts, it makes it feel that much more cutting, that much more cooler in that sense. Wind advisory is in effect for Chincoteague, and we're concerned about rip tides and gusty winds along the beaches. More on that in a moment. Till then, back to you, Charlie.
Thank you, Paul. In Bethany Beach, former police chief Michael Redman and former captain Darren Cathell have been sentenced for stealing nearly $300,000 in overtime funds over a 6-year span. Redman received 13 months in federal prison and must pay $81,000 in restitution and a $50,000 fine. Cathell was sentenced to 2 months in prison, 6 months of home confinement, and ordered to pay $67,000 in restitution, along with a $25,000 fine. The town of Bethany Beach plans to file civil action to recover unreimbursed grant funds.
According to Utah's governor, Tyler Robinson, the man accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk, comes from a conservative family, but they're learning his views are quite different. Over the weekend, the governor also said Robinson was not cooperating with authorities in this case, though his roommate was. Investigators are looking into the time frame before and after the shooting to determine possible connections to others.
Our investigators are working hard, and we're leaving no stone unturned, whether that be in social media, websites, personal contacts. Our investigators are working hard to make sure that if there is any contributors to this, or if there's anybody that we feel is tied to it, that we find them and that we hold them accountable if we determine that that's part of the case.
The commissioner said a lot more information about Robinson will likely be revealed tomorrow after charges are filed.
The United States and China have reached a framework for a deal for TikTok. That's what Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said from discussions in Madrid. The Trump administration faced a Wednesday deadline to either divest the social media app's U.S. business or shut it down.
But now, as Monica Alba shows us, the president and Chinese President Xi will meet Friday and discuss those terms.
TikTok users could soon celebrate. The social media app with more than 170 million American users may have a new U.S. owner.
We have a framework for a TikTok deal. The two leaders, President Trump and Party Chair Xi, will speak on Friday to complete the deal.
Treasury Secretary Bessent made the announcement just days before the September 17th deadline that would have shut down the popular platform if a new buyer wasn't found. TikTok had been in legal limbo for months. In 2024, Congress passed a law forcing the app's Chinese owner, ByteDance, to sell or face steep penalties over privacy and security concerns. It had bipartisan support. Users, influencers, and creators made their displeasure known, and small businesses did too, saying the app was vital to their livelihood.
It's allowed me to be an entrepreneur and to work for myself. It's allowed me the freedom of time.
The news comes as Bessent and top U.S. trade negotiators met with their Chinese counterparts on trade talks.
We were very focused on TikTok and making sure that it was a deal that is fair for the Chinese and completely respects U.S. national security concerns.
Also meeting this week, the Federal Reserve, which could have consequential effects on everything from personnel to policy. The Fed expected to lower rates on Wednesday, something President Trump has been pushing for months. And today, once again demanding that on social media. But who will be at the table to vote on that decision is up in the air. The Senate is expected to vote tonight on Stephen Miron's nomination to the Board of Governors. If confirmed, he could take part in the meeting. Two things that will affect the Fed decision: the latest inflation report and jobs numbers. Both showed signs the economy is slowing, which could spur the Fed to lower interest rates and ramp up Americans' buying power. Monica Alba, NBC News, Washington.
There are thousands of different species across the Assateague Island National Seashore. How you, as a park goer, can help the seashore identify them.
We have some possible heavy rainfall rolling our way this week. More on what I'm tracking coming up.
But first, police are looking for a man involved in a robbery here at the Shawnee Country Store. What was stolen? Up next.
This is Coast TV News at 5.
Delaware State Police are investigating a robbery they say happened Sunday afternoon at the Shawnee Country store. According to investigators, 2 employees and a customer were inside when the alleged robber jumped over the counter with a knife. Police say that person took the cash and ran away. Now, Milford Police, they are working with other agencies to see if this robbery is linked to recent thefts.
If you spend time driving in or through Easton, Maryland, listen up. A number of road closures are scheduled for the East Avenue Storm Drain Improvement Project. From September 17th to the 23rd, they'll be installing over 2,100 feet of storm drain pipes. On your screen is a map with closures in the area.
Your Bay forecast, we're looking for rainy conditions for Tuesday, particularly Tuesday night going into Wednesday, with a chance of thunderstorms early Wednesday, and we'll still have some dwindling showers on Thursday. A bit of a soggy situation is on tap. Your full forecast coming right up. Get your windbreaker, get your umbrellas ready. It's going to be a rocky ride for the next 2 to 3 days in a row. In Ocean View, cloudy skies, 71. We're going to see the scattered showers kick in Ocean View as early as 8 o'clock with light scattered showers. Then it'll pick up momentum and pick up the heaviness of the rainfall. We're at 71 degrees right now in Rehoboth, Indian River Inlet, Long Neck, Millsboro, as well as Gumboro with thick cloud cover. Now, we do have a random piece of rain that's moving its way near Highway 346 between Salisbury and Willards, and it's moving to the northwest, actually, headed towards Delmar, but it's relatively light stuff. Now, we do have concerns as far as what's happening with the rip currents. We have rip current concerns. Lewis, Rehoboth Beach, Dewey Beach. This goes all the way down to Ocean View, Bay Park, and Fenwick Island. That stays in effect until 8 o'clock for Tuesday. Now, until Wednesday midnight, we have high surf advisory in effect for Ocean City, West Ocean City, all the way down towards Golf Club Shores. That same high surf advisory. And then we have wind advisories in effect for Chincoteague right now. So breezy conditions kicking in with gale wind warnings off of the coast, watching out for 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts at the very least off of the coastal region. Now, overall, we're still relatively quiet, and we're seeing a lot of the rain coming in. And typically, what we would typically say a bit of a backwards motion, because usually it's from the west to the east, but we have that strong flow coming off of the water. Now, a couple of things we want to go over. We're looking at the winds. Look at these winds by 7:30 Tuesday. 40-mile-per-hour winds for Tuesday, 43 to 45, up to 46 by 4 o'clock. So the winds are a concern for us on Tuesday. Wednesday, we're going to be more concerned about the rain. But we will have a quick pocket of scattered showers that will flare up for us on Tuesday. But then Wednesday at midnight, we start in Salisbury. And then by 6:30 in the morning, we're looking at isolated cells between Millsboro and Selbyville and between Fenwick Island and Ocean City. Those cells are going to be really strong. And the amount of rain, well, for Fenwick Island, we could see up to 4 inches of rain there. And our forecasting models are indicating some impressive rain for Snow Hill and Berlin. So we want to be mindful of both of those places. We could get up to 6 inches. Wow, by Thursday. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Yellow alert day for Tuesday. We may have to scooch that over to Wednesday as well if that rain comes in as heavy as expected.
Thank you, Paul. Coming up tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network at 5:30 p.m., it's live Henlopen Conference Girls Volleyball when Indian River visits Milford. Then it's the final score at 10:30. And identify as many species within Assateague Island National Seashore as possible for the iNaturalist Bio Blitz. What that project is and how you can help. The Assateague Island National Seashore wants you to participate in their week-long iNaturalist Bio Blitz. So what exactly is that? It's a program where, while you enjoy the park trails, beaches, and marshes, you're encouraged to, snap a few pictures of any of the thousands of plants, animals, or other organisms in the park. Then you're asked to log your observations in the iNaturalist app. This will help contribute to a larger biodiversity database for the National Seashore. You don't need to sign up for anything. The project begins September 21st and goes through the 27th.
Let's take a live look now outside into Dover. One more check on the forecast after this.
Coming up new on Coast TV News at 6, the school year is in motion. How Delaware is handling a teacher shortage. That story and more on Coast TV News at 6.
In Dover right now, it's very cloudy. Got a couple of sprinkles floating around here and there, but most of all, it's just basically going to stay gray for the day. Now, As far as our umbrella winner is concerned, an umbrella would be real handy this week, by the way. Jennifer Green of Rehoboth Beach, congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration and Home Remodeling. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line. The number to call is 443-880-9100. Your forecast is just a call away, sponsored by the law offices of Brockstedt, Mandalis, and Federico. Finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. We're calling for a yellow alert day on Tuesday, mainly because we're looking at the rain hitting, but also 45-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And we may lean this on into Wednesday, but the main thing is Tuesday night, that's when it begins, and it really doesn't back down until Thursday.
All right, Paul, thank you, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
Inside Edition is up next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.